Chat with Ralph, it's the place to be. Bald as the moon, but full of tea. Divorce debates and cheating confessions, sexless nights and awkward questions. Oh, chat with Ralph, it's a laugh and a half. Grab a seat, tune in for the gaffes. Bald and bold, spilling the truth. Get ready, folks, here's your proof. Got no hair, but I got the flair. Marriage drama, we lay it bare. Infidelity, it's a spicy stew. Pour a cup, let's talk it through. So join the fun, don't miss a thing. Chat with Ralph's where secrets swing. Bald is beautiful and that's a fact. Now hit that stream, it's time to
That never gets old. That's my AI-generated intro music that I made, and I just laugh like a silly girl every time I play it. It's hilarious. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing well. It's your boy Rafaelito back once again for another live. It's been a little while since I've done one of these. Find myself saying that a lot. I need to do these more often, but lots going on. Last week was my 50th birthday. Yay me. And this week was Thanksgiving, so a lot going on. Busy with family, friends, all that good stuff. Did a little surprise getaway with the wifey in Austin, Texas last week. That was a lot of fun. Went to a concert. We saw Queens of the Stone Age and went to the what's that called? The Mothership Comedy Club there, Joe Rogan's comedy club in Austin. Had some good food, just all kinds of fun times with the wifey there. So good to be back with you fine folks. For those that don't know who the hell I am, my name is Ralph. I wish it was something cooler. And I have been doing content under the name of Dad Starting Over for years now, well over a decade now. Started off as a blog, became a series of videos and articles and books. I've written 5 books. I'll talk about the 5th one, which just recently came out here shortly. And we created a larger community organization, rather, called Help for Men, as the little sign there next to my bald head says. You can learn more at helpformen.com. And we have a private support community just for men. Pardon me, a little gassy today, under Help for Men, called The Brotherhood. And you can learn more at helpformen.com/join. It is just for men. And guys that get in there, what we do is we have private discussion forums. We have live Zoom meetings. We have all 5 of my books at no charge, including a book by Coach Austin, who is on our team. Speaking of coaching, we have one-on-one coaching that is available. If you're a member of the group, it is way, way cheaper than if you're just average Joe off the street. In addition to that, we have courses, some of which are free, some of which are a lot cheaper. Big discount, again, for members. What else we got going on? We get together in person. We have annual conferences in the U.S. as well as in Australia. In our annual conference, we call them BroFest, and the next BroFest is coming up March 27, 28 in Louisville, Kentucky, and you can learn more at brofest2026.com. Check it out, brofest2026.com. Myself, Dr. Robert Glover, author of No More Mr. Nice Guy, will be there. Lauren, the Dadvocate. A lot of you are fans of Lauren. Lauren has a big social media presence. She will be there with us. Adam Nissenson, what's his brand? The betrayal shrink. So he talks to guys that have gone through betrayal, like being cheated on. He also is a specialist in sex addiction. So check it out. I had a giant boost of guys that were viewing me there for a second, and then it all just went away. I don't know what I said. Probably selling stuff too much. Sorry, guys, but all the shit you see behind me doesn't pay for itself. So check it out, brofest2026.com, as well as our group, The Brotherhood, helpformen.com/join. I see a lot of guys that join these lives, and thank you guys for joining me here today. I'll get to the comments here in a bit. We have a lot of gentlemen that I see in the comments in my videos. Guys that email me on a regular basis, message me on Facebook seems to be the main place that a lot of people message me. I see a lot of the same messages from guys, a lot of the same names coming up over and over again. Gentlemen, if you are one of those guys, you probably need more men in your life. Guys that you can bounce ideas off of, guys that you can talk to on a regular basis, comparing notes, guys that you can open up to, that you feel safe opening up to. It's ironic. A lot of women don't know this, but a lot of men feel completely unsafe opening up to women in their life. Why is that? Because we naturally think of women as being more empathetic, more loving, caring, sweeter than the typical dudes in our life. A lot of guys experience bullying by men in their life and so forth. Well, what a lot of men tell me, a lot of the, well, thank you, Mr. XD Fuzzy Burn. He says you donated $10. Well, thank you so very much. I appreciate that. It means a lot to me. Thank you. That's for the guys in YouTube. You are able to give a donation, but thank you. I appreciate that. But for a lot of, back to what I was saying, we have a lot of guys that tell me that they have been in relationships with women in the past and have been hurt by said women. And when you get down to when did the hurt occur, so to speak, by the man's estimation, it was when he opened up and he was vulnerable to the woman. So he may say, listen to some past trauma that I have, or he may get a little weepy because he had a bad day at work or whatever it may be. And the woman in his life, who, because he is very anxious, he's usually with a very avoidant woman, is just like, ew, yuck, I don't like emotion, get away from me. So he hears that once or twice, lesson learned. In his mind, women don't take vulnerability very well. Therefore, I can't be open and vulnerable and show a, quote, weakness, which is another word for humanness. It's very real humanity because we're all weak at baseline. And so he feels more comfortable opening up to men. So that's why we have fraternal organizations. That's why we have all these men's groups like our own. And there's the link at the bottom there. You can see helpformen.com/join, helpformen.com/join. I don't know what that means. It's me, Soturo Gojo. I don't understand that. I don't know what any of that means. So I'm not going to read it out loud because I don't know. Yeah. Anywho. And then Jack here says in the comments, we were also betrayed by our mothers, aunts, grandmothers, etc. Sure. Yeah, some of you have bad experiences with women in your life. Maybe your particular flavor of dysfunction in your family is such that all the women in your life are kind of toxic in nature. You know, when I think back on my own extended family, that sounds familiar. So we just, for whatever reason, learn maybe it's safer to open up to men, especially like-minded men who gather together solely for the purpose of talking about this kind of stuff. And this kind of stuff, by that I mean relationship-oriented stuff. You may be talking about infidelity. You may be talking about the old dead bedroom thing. You may be talking about, just the difficulties of dating or the difficulties of maintaining a long-term monogamous relationship with a woman. All these things. This isn't typical coffee talk, or when you get together over beers with a guy, your typical dude in your life. You don't talk about this kind of stuff. But in specific groups like ours, the Brotherhood, yes, you do talk about it. So helpformen.com/join. We're doing something a little different today. Let me see how this works. Oh yeah, I can see it at the top there. My software here that I use is called StreamYard for some of my fellow nerds out there. And they are allowing me to send this out live via vertical, I guess you could say, portrait mode on YouTube. So if you scroll through shorts on YouTube, you can see some live. So we may have some people that are like seeing me live on YouTube that have no connection to me whatsoever. So hello, strangers out there. For the vertical guys, I'll see the link above me. For the rest of you guys, you'll see it right there below me. That's the link to our Brotherhood group. Well, we got, here we go. We got from Facebook, SHAN commenting on, and yes, I was going to get to this, Mr. SHAN. You love how I crapped my pants with what you said about Andrew Wilson. If you guys don't know, I had posted a video about Mr. Andrew Wilson, and some of you are like, who? Andrew is a relatively popular, at least in my world, which is, my world is guys getting online to talk about or read more about relationship-oriented stuff. A lot of men that watch my material and material like it have been hurt by women in the past. So when you're hurt by a woman, you've been cheated on by women and so forth, and you start Googling and looking up things and YouTubing things, and the algorithm, as it's known, it sees like, oh, I see you want to see this kind of stuff. Here you go. And they'll show my beautiful bald head, and they'll show other guys that aren't so nice, I guess you could say, for lack of a better word. Not so centrist in their view, much more, what do you call it? Extreme in their views. So we have guys that are much more extreme in their views, like a gentleman by the name of Andrew Wilson. Andrew is, I guess you could say, Orthodox Christian conservative guy primarily. And by virtue of his orthodoxy, Christianity, he talks a lot about relationship-oriented stuff, marriage-oriented stuff. And he is very much part of, I guess you could say, like a manosphere kind of group of people, men talking about this kind of stuff. And most guys in the manosphere tend to be kind of conservative in nature. They tend to be, women have their role, men have their role, and they would much like to see kind of go back to the good old days in a lot of ways and so forth. And Andrew is vehemently outspoken on a lot of this stuff, and he loves to debate folks, and he loves to get on a podcast that's called Whatever. And Whatever is a podcast, youngish, probably like 30-something-year-old guys. Andrew, I believe I don't know if he's close to my age, 40-something. I'm 50, so I assume he's closer to my age. He's got the salt and pepper beard and hair and all that stuff going on. And SHAN, your continuing comments here on this, obviously I touched a nerve with Mr. SH and guys like SH, because I created a video all about Andrew, because Andrew made the airwaves here recently. That's a very old school term. Andrew is showing up on a lot of people's news feeds here recently, but not for a good reason. He's only 40. I'm not insulting Andrew. I thought he was older than that. I'm sorry. So he was on this Whatever show, and I keep getting sidetracked. I apologize. The Whatever show is basically youngish guys. You bring a lot of young women, not the brightest bulbs, let's be honest. When you look at a lot of these ladies, a lot of them are kind of ditzy. And so you put a lot of ditzy 20-something gals in a room, and basically they will spend, no bullshit, guys, 5-6 hours during a live stream, which they record and you can watch again. Basically, picture all guys on one side of the room and girls on the other side, and all the guys are kind of looking at each other like, can you believe these dummies? That's the tone for a good 5 or 6 hours. To me, sorry guys, I know it's subjective, not the most entertaining thing in the world. I sit and try to watch it for a good 5-10 minutes, and I'm like, this goes on for 5 or 6 hours, seriously? Andrew's often on that show, and he'll get very frustrated as a conservative dude on the other side going, dumb women, can you believe them? Arr! And he loses his top often. Now, back to Mr. What are you talking about? SH, there he is. And then we have another one that got pissed off here. He was good, and then he left. Mr. Dragon? Dragon? Whatever. But anywho, so Andrew goes on this Whatever podcast. He'll often do the one-on-one debates with somebody. He'll get very angry. He talks a lot about politics, which I detest politics. I don't want to get into that. And but he had a gal on there here recently who is he called her the D word for lesbian, which I'm not going to repeat because I don't roll that way. Sorry guys, if you're into that, whatever. But he used some derogatory terms and referred to her as being a lesbian and so forth. So I assume she is gay. Somebody in the comments said she's not. So what a weird thing to say to somebody who's not. But anyway, they were going back and forth, and he was getting so frustrated with her. And he said that, no matter what I say, I'm never going to convince you. And she's like, nope, you sure won't. And he's like, I think it's because you're just stupid. You're just a stupid person. Not a nice thing to say. And so she's like, oh yeah, watch this. And she pulled out of her back pocket a little bit of information about Andrew that, in my mind, he should have listened to her and said, yeah, so I don't understand where you're going with this. But instead, Andrew freaking blew up, and he just laid into this woman, called her every name in the book and this and that, you stupid. And she was just like, oh God. And then Brian, the host in the background, he's like, oh God. It was so visceral that it went, I guess, viral on the internet. So I had to create a video out of it to capitalize on the popularity of it. There you go. So I normally don't talk about that kind of stuff, but it was interesting because the reason I brought it up, let me get rid of this little banner here. The reason I brought it up was because it's somewhat correlated with some of my content that I've been putting out here recently, and a book that I've been putting out here recently. Watch this. The book is called Rebuild, The Complete Guide to Starting Over as a Man. And I'm bringing it up because in this book, I talk about values in your identity as a man and how that is the foundation and the building blocks of everything. So we have guys that are like dating, let's say, and they're like, oh, all these girls that I'm meeting, they all say this and that. And it's like, it doesn't mean dick if you're a guy who has a strong sense of identity and a strong sense of values, because when you're and a sense of abundance when in life, including romance. So when you're dating a woman, for example, and she says something that's really against your values, you're just like, oh, we're not a good match. Shake hands. It was a pleasure meeting you, and you go about your business. But if you're on shaky ground with the foundation of who it is you are and your identity and your sense of values, all these little things in your life just really rub you the wrong freaking way. So you're with a girl and you're on a date and she's just amazing and she's beautiful and she says something that goes against your values politically, socially. Maybe you're not a drinker and she's suddenly getting a little tipsy at dinner or whatever. You just say, hey, it was nice meeting you. Instead of getting so pissed that she's going against your values, but you give her another chance and you go on a second and third and 10th date and she's still not up to your values and you're blowing your top and you get on the internet and you go, can you believe all these dumb broads? If you have a strong sense of who you are, that kind of stuff doesn't matter. So back to Andrew. Andrew's on this whatever show podcast. He's debating I presume, younger gal. And she says, Andrew, your wife, in her words, and she used these words on purpose to get under Andrew's skin, has 3 baby daddies, which is another way of saying she has 3 different men in her life. I think Andrew was one of them. By the way, I don't know the particulars. I don't give a shit. It's not my business. It's between Andrew and his wife. And apparently, Andrew's wife has had children with 3 different men, including Andrew, I believe. If I'm Andrew, I go, yeah, and? But this Charlie pulled this out of her back pocket because she knew it would get under Andrew's skin and it would be a low blow because he hurt her feelings. And she was right. And he just blew up, which shows what? Psych 101, guys. Don't take my word for it. Ask anybody who's dealt with human beings, psychology, psychiatry, therapists, whatever it may be. If you go to someone and go, oh yeah, Ralph, well, you're bald. And if I blow my top and I start throwing shit around the room, like, oh, Ralph really is bothered by his baldness. I hit below the belt. Ralph doesn't take kindly to this. Versus me going, yeah, no shit, dummy. Your eyes work. I'm bald. Like, I've been that way for years now. I don't know what to tell you. 20 years this way. What can I tell you? I've gotten used to it by now. So, and then we got guys like SH here who take it very seriously. They really align themselves with a guy like Andrew. So they don't like a guy like me saying Andrew was way overly sensitive to that. It shows that really bothers him. It shows that probably in his mind at baseline, I keep using that term. It's one of my little verbal crutches there. At baseline, maybe he's bothered a little bit by that. Like, yeah, my wife did have 2 previous relationships. I don't know what the particulars are. I assume married. I don't know. And she has 2 different kids. Now, why would that bother Andrew to the point of blowing up like that? To the point where all of the internet is like, holy shit, look what this guy did. Is he being a hypocrite with that? Case can be made. Yeah, that's the point that Charlie was making. Dude, you're a bit of a hypocrite. Why? Andrew has had some Andrew and the Whatever podcast and other podcasts like Andrew. It's not him in particular, so maybe it's not fair, but he has kind of aligned himself with a certain genre of people. One of the mainstays, one of the staple points made in his world and in the world in general is one of single mothers are the bane of our existence, basically. That if you want to have a bunch of children that turn out poorly, just have them raised by a single mom. If you want to introduce your world and make your world chaotic, and what these men say is, then you date a single mom. If you know what's good for you, you will steer away from them. And I did a little bit of Googling, a little bit of YouTube searching, and I found Andrew saying exactly that. In his defense, though, he has brought up his stepfatherness a couple times that I saw in some videos. But I don't know if the cognitive dissonance or what it is, but he hasn't properly addressed, like, how can we balance you are on one hand saying that what your wife was back then, apparently once, twice, as a single mother, twice, meaning she had children by 2 different men in previous relationships. Was she toxic then and toxic then again? And then you met her and you detoxified her with your manliness? How does that work exactly? He needs to kind of address that, I guess, and address it in a calm, manly, adult way, not in a way where you blow your top, throw fit, call the woman derogatory bigoted terms that going against her sexuality. I don't even know if she is a gay woman or whatever it may be, but I'm the type that I don't care. Whatever, gay man, woman, we're all brothers, sisters. I really don't give a shit. And to use that as kind of an insult shows that Andrew's kind of a dipshit. Sorry, guys. If you align yourself with that and you're the type that throws those kind of words around and you like to insult men and women because of their sexuality or race or whatever it may be, you may kindly leave. I don't need that kind of people in my life. I don't need people like that in my audience. I don't need people like that buying my books or whatever. So please don't. If you align yourself with that and you're like, yeah, I like that Andrew said that, go F yourself. Basically is what I'm saying. I don't need you in my world. So when I hear Andrew and the like say that, I'm like, God, that's not good, dude. Obviously, she got under his skin. And I likened it to there's an incident with a way bigger celebrity type, Will Smith. His wife had an affair, went on the internet or on TV talking all about it. She and Will got together and she just basically sat there very bluntly. She's got a problem, by the way, talking all about her affair and how it's just, what does she call it? Her entanglement with a man in their own home, a much younger man in their own home. And it was nasty. And Will Smith, famously sat back teary-eyed and watched all this. And the whole of the internet basically saw Will Smith being belittled like that by his wife and made fun of him for it and drug him over the coals. And that picture of him being weepy became viral. There's old weepy Will Smith as his wife's talking about, yeah, so I screwed a guy in her house and all this other stuff. Later, here comes Chris Rock in the Oscar ceremony making a little joke about Will Smith's wife's baldness, ironically. And Will Smith got up, got out of his chair, walked over to Chris Rock on live television for the whole world to see and smacked the shit out of him. Instead of like, dude, ease up on the wife stuff. Instead of saying like, don't do that, dude. And he blew his top. And everyone basically at that point said, yep, Will Smith's over. He's done. He showed us that he's a little baby. He can't control his violent temper and all this other stuff. That's kind of Andrew's little moment like this. Flames says he has seen me on the sex offenders list. You know how to respond to that? Why exactly? Did your wife ever tell you you are stupid, just like your father? Okay, I don't know what that means either. Okay, SH, you're in the hospital and your liver is failing, and so SH, you obviously got some stuff going on too. I'm sorry to hear that, brother. I hope you get better. Even with all the negativity you're posting here, obviously you're going through something, much like Andrew's going through something. I'm sorry, that was a little bit of a jab. But it sounds like you're going through liver failure. So I'm sorry to hear that. You are jaundiced, my friend. So if you're drinking, it's time to stop doing that. Or you're taking something. Your liver's saying no more. I'm not a doctor. I don't know why I'm going down this road, but I wish you all the best, brother. Jack Lumen said, you dated a few single moms before you got married nearly 27 years ago. My experiences were poor, and my wife understands that. Sometimes she understood it better than I did. Okay, all right. I can see that I'm hitting a whole new audience here because the comments are lighting up from YouTube. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, brother. So you have cancer. Oof. Wish you all the best. All of us send our healing vibes to SH. Oh, there's your healing vibes. Hope you get better, brother. Cancer sucks. I've lost some good people to it, and I've known some people who have recovered beautifully from it. So let me. All right. How do I do this? Okay. Anybody else? So with that aside, let's get the Andrew Wilson stuff out of the way, shall we? But anywho, that's just the viral topic du jour, and that's why I spoke on that. So does anybody else have anything else to talk about? My book, Rebuild. This book, for the first time ever, I finally have a book that has outsold my most popular book, The Dead Bedroom Fix, which is about sex and marriage. So this book, Rebuild, is outselling The Dead Bedroom Fix. Holy shit, finally. So let me bring up the little address for that one here. You can learn more about it at readrebuild.com. That jumps you to our Help for Men website. Or you can look for this, Rebuild, on Amazon. You can get this in paperback, which is what this is. I also have a hardcover copy. I don't have a copy of it here. I've ordered some for myself. And the ebook or Kindle versions also on Amazon, or you can download a PDF copy of this book from our website. Audiobook. I know a lot of you are asking about that. Audio is coming up, pardon me, soon on Audible, Apple, all these websites. Spotify. If you're a Spotify Premium member, you'll be able to download it there. All my other books are available on Spotify Premium, Audible, all the rest. But this one, Rebuild, is available in audiobook format for our members of the Brotherhood. Guys, helpformen.com/join. You can get this now in audiobook format, as well as all my other books in audio format, as well as PDF format at no charge to you if you are a member of the Brotherhood. But for the rest of you, you got to wait. I'm sorry, I don't know when it'll be available on retail. I've already submitted it. It sometimes takes like 3-4 weeks for it to show up. It's all on them. They got to decide how much to charge for it, and they got to do all their stuff, and it takes forever for Audible and those guys. So I'm trying, guys. It'll be out there soon. Oh, we got Mr. D.H. Hill 87 on YouTube says, I'm having a hard time accepting that as a single dad now that my dating pool will likely be limited to single moms. Not necessarily. Nothing against them in general. I just never wanted to be a stepdad. And you know what? You don't have to be. I'm not going to shame you either way. I'll be the first to say, when I got divorced, I was a father of 3 little kids. But I was with you, dude. When people were like, oh, this happened to me, by the way, right away. And it was very illustrative of how everyone saw me. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing, but hear me out. So picture it. I'm divorced, 3 kids, and freshly on the market. My ex-wife cheated, the whole 9 yards. So I felt horrible. I was going through a lot, and I was on the market, so to speak. Not really. I shouldn't have been. I probably need to take a break from women for like a year or so. But everyone saw me as this catch, as far as a good, well-rounded, nice, there's that term, provider kind of guy that would be a great stepdad to kids. So if I had a woman, for example, that said, oh, I got someone you need to meet, which happened right away. They all had like 5-6 kids already. And my reaction initially was, I don't think so. No, thanks. Now, I looked at it as that just sounds like a headache, because I was already a single father to 3 little ones. Why do I want to add more to the mix? That's how I looked at it. I didn't necessarily look at it as those women are damaged or bad news because of. It sounded like a headache to me. Like, oh, no, thanks. So I get it. With that being said, I eventually dated, I think pretty much every woman I dated, with the exception of one, had kids. And I don't know if it's coincidence or not, but that one eventually became my second wife. So I dated for 3.5 years, what would become my second wife, Natalie, and then we married, and she had no children of her own. There you go. So I get it. We got Tim talking about no audiobook. I just mentioned Tim. I think, I was blabbing, you left that, but audiobook is coming, and it is available to members of our Brotherhood, helpformen.com/join. So DHL says you also looked at the divorce stats, and you think, why would I want to get involved with someone who probably blew up their last family? Good point. So you're saying statistically, when you look at, here are women who have been divorced, it is probably them who said, I want a divorce, right? That's not fair. It's probably them who went and filed the paperwork. Sometimes it's the 2 men and woman say, this ain't working. Yeah, you're right. It's not working. Let's get a divorce. Sure. And they both sit and wait and go, who's going to go to the courthouse and get the process started? It's usually the woman who does. And it's usually the woman who initiates the process to begin with. So you're looking at that going, obviously she has the potential, or she has a history of being the one to say, I'm out of here. Why do I want to be the next statistic, right? But DHL, let me push back on that a little bit, if I may. You're also looking at dating as marriage, or you're looking at that as a gateway to marriage. And I say to a lot of guys, you're putting the cart way before the horse, dude. Just get out there and meet people. Have fun with them. They may not even get romantic. It may just mean I meet a woman and she's really cool, but we don't click in that way, and that's fine. She's just, after that point, she's just kind of a casual buddy. Maybe we meet for coffee a couple times and that's it. Just to maybe there is something here. No, not really. I don't like her and she doesn't like me. Oh, well, that's cool. But a lot of guys approach the dating world as potential lifetime mates, which there's some validity to. Some people call that like dating with intention. Like you're going out there with a purpose. You're not going out there just to waste time. No, I'm going to find Mrs. Right, damn it. I get it, but to me, that's a little, maybe unhealthy is not the right word, but especially for a freshly divorced guy, it's like putting the cart way before the horse. Just enjoy your time with them. Now, if you're like, there's always the potential for that to happen, and I don't even want to go down that road. I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to meet them. Maybe you know yourself better than anybody, and you realize, no, I tend to fall in love really fast, and I tend to want to jump into a relationship real fast. Well, then if that's the case, then yeah, maybe you do need to cool it and take a break from dating period, especially women who have 6 kids and everything else, because you might be getting into something there. Shadow Band says, I got 5 baby mamas and I only pay child support for 2 of them. Yay, I guess. Yeah, so it's not a judgment; it's his preference. Exactly. Now there are a lot of people that will judge you. I'm sorry. The comments are coming so fast. I'm losing who said what here. That was DH Hill. So DH Hill. Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of people that will shame you for you saying no single moms, please. I guess if you shouldn't feel like you have to qualify it or explain it away, you can just say, yeah, it's just my preference. That's fine. There are plenty of women. I think women probably get more of more leeway when they're the ones to say, I'm just not interested in single dads right now. A lot of people will say, yeah, good for you, sister, whatever. But when a man says it, yeah, it carries more weight, doesn't it? But you just have to deal with that. It is what it is. That's fine. And then, like, for example, Carla here. Miss Carla says, Carla is a regular follower and commenter on my material. Hello, Miss Carla. She says, he doesn't want to be a stepdad. Well, maybe a woman doesn't want to be a stepmom. How can you be a single father and judge a single mother? I think, Carla, he would come back and say, it's not necessarily a judgment. It's not all single moms are bad. It's just like, for me and the position that I'm in life right now as a single father to X number of kids, no, I don't want to intertwine myself with another person and, possibly have mixed family and have to deal with conflicting kids' schedules and all this other stuff. It may be logistical nightmares. It's like, I just don't want to go down that road. That's fine. We don't want to shame people for going down that way. Yeah, you're in no rush. This is DHL saying, no rush to be serious again. You got your kids. DHL, this is huge of you, dude. Thank you for saying this. Maybe I'm just conditioned to feel incomplete without the day-to-day companionship. I got to get used to that. That's very big of you, dude. You're exactly right. That is a lot of men and women, both fresh out of long-term 10, 20 some odd year relationships. They're so used to having a life partner, someone to wake up to in the morning, even if the marriage was like really dysfunctional for a long time. You didn't, a lot of silent treatment, not talking about stuff, dead bedroom, all this other stuff. Even with that, it was still what's the magic word? Familiar. And with familiarity comes comfort. Even if you weren't talking to each other, you still made your coffee next to each other in the morning. Even though she hasn't given you a kiss in 5 years or whatever, at least you knew she was going to be there to help out with the kids. And you did laundry and she cleaned the toilets. You had a routine, you had a thing, and it was comfortable and it was familiar. And it was something that you could feel safe and predictable in. And so when that's gone, the term I often use is, it feels like a limb has left your body. And so there you are without your limb and you're like, something's missing here. I need to put this back. It's like, well, yeah, but that was really toxic. You're better off without it. I know, but it still feels like something's really missing here. And so what a lot of guys and gals do is go out in the market and want to replace that right away. And so they meet somebody, they fall in love really quickly, and they're like, maybe we should move in together. Yes, we should move in together. And everybody around them is like, dude, no, it's way too soon. He's like, no, you don't understand. She's perfect. This is great. This awesome about her. That's awesome about her. We're 2 peas in a pod, soulmates. And like, oh shit, here we go. And then sure enough, what I was going to say, like a year later, it usually doesn't even take that long. All hell breaks loose, chaos. And you realize they were just trying to heal a wound. They were trying to fill a void. No pun intended. Trying to complete themselves, validate themselves. They don't love themselves all that much. They don't have a sense of identity and who they are. Maybe they should have read this book, Rebuild, The Complete Guide to Starting Over as a Man. Read rebuild.com. Because they're trying to feel whole via other people. They're trying to get that validation, that sense of completeness by having somebody else in their life, even if deep down in the back of their head somewhere is that little voice screaming, "Don't do it, dude. Take your time. This is too soon. We just got divorced. We just broke up with this last wife. Let's just cool it with this." Even hearing all that, they're like, "Nah, I'm still going to go ahead." Why? Because right now this woman makes me feel amazing and she's filling a void. That's not a good foundation for getting into new relationships. Sandra says men date for sex. Not necessarily, Sandra. If love develops, then sweet. Others date for ego and fun. Yeah, so other men. Some men date for like filling a void, ego stroke. I like the validation of that love, and I love that new relationship energy of getting to know somebody, falling in love, hand holding, kissing, and all this stuff that just fills me with all kinds of joy. What man can't say that, right? Well, others, there are men in my audience. It's a relatively small subset of the men. Let's be honest, that are just like, I just want that physical intimacy. I just want to get laid. Those men exist, sure, but most of the men I talk to, it doesn't take long before you realize, no, they like the companionship and then talking and the hand holding and the schmoozing. Yeah, sex is part of it, sure, but not without. They want the sex, but with all the other stuff too. Sandra, is what I hear from a lot of guys. And then they take the date to the next step of, she's going to be my live-in girlfriend, and then we're going to get married. I mean, really quickly. We have a lot of codependent men out there, really, really quickly, and they always end up getting hurt. It's not good. Mm-hmm. Very good, guys. Anything else here, ladies and germs? I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I have been, sorry, I keep hitting the microphone. I don't know if that's coming across in the sound there. I've been on a lot of podcasts here recently, getting a lot of attention and getting a lot of invites to be guests on podcasts. So guys, if you're a podcast host, keep them coming. But I did 3 or 4 this week, and I got more coming up next week. December's already all booked up with podcast interviews. I did, what are some ones here recently? Dangerous Man podcast. I just did one called Optimal Life with Nate Haber. Trying to remember some of the other ones I've been on. They're escaping me right now. But if you are following me on Facebook or YouTube, I typically post the links once they're posted. It's frustrating, but often when I do these podcast interviews, they don't post for like months later. I got one I just did yesterday, and he said it will be posted in June next year. I'm like, dude, okay. So versus I did one today and it was actually posted today, the Optimal Life one. So that's cool. So guys, if you see me posting those links, go check them out, listen to them, watch them on YouTube, whatever they are, give them a follow. And if you could leave them a review, that would be a big help. That's your way of saying, thanks for helping support Ralph, help for men, dad starting over. So let's give back to those guys however we can. Ralph, will you speak on how health issues and illness can impact our relationships, even challenge our rebuild efforts, says Mr. Jack. You know, Jack and others, you don't really appreciate, do you, the impact of how health impacts everything until you are hit with it or your loved one is hit with it. We have a lot of us that are getting older up there. Hey, I just turned 50. Guys, prepare yourself. A lot of my material is going to talk about getting old from here on out. When you hit 50, all of a sudden, it just, you realize you got more years behind you than you do ahead of you. And then the old health concerns happen. The thing I often talk about, I've been a very physical workout type of dude for years. So my body's finally said, here you go. And it's got the bad shoulder and the bad knees and the elbow acts up every now and then. And that's minor league stuff. The major league stuff is, dude, now you have heart disease. I don't, knock on wood. Or now you need a hip replaced, or even for our lady friends out there, now you're going through menopause. Now that means you have a higher risk of osteoporosis, heart disease, anxiety, depression, and your libido, which was minimal, is now nothing. And your husband's pissed off because you don't want anything to do with them anymore. And now you have far less lovey schmoozy feelings. And now you have far more pissed off, angry, almost like a angry old dude feelings, these women say. And so this is called aging. And it sucks for many of us. And so we fight like hell against it. And we go to the gym, eat right, pop the pills, do whatever we can to try and keep it at bay as much as possible, right? but sometimes we can't help it. And sometimes it's like our poor buddy up there who mentioned Mr. DH or whatever. They give you the big old C, the old cancer word, and you're like, that changes everything, doesn't it? Now you're going in for treatments. Now your fingers crossed you survive and all those things. That puts a whole different spin on everything. And yes, that is very impactful on relationships. And some of us, unfortunately, men and women alike, this isn't something that is limited to what women do by any means. But some of us realize that once we have that real sense of weakness, vulnerability, mortality, now that we're facing our mortality, now we're not sure if we're going to survive this. Now we see like years of treatment, or now we're bedridden, whatever it may be. We look over at our partner and we realize just what they're made of as far as long-term commitment is concerned. And for some of us, it ain't pretty. For some of us, our partner shows their true colors, and you're like, oh, maybe they're not cut out for this. Now, like what Mr. DH is saying here, he says, I can speak on that. My wife's affair started when I was struggling with a heart condition. We hear this often, men and women alike. You were in and out of the ER, seeing cardiologists. It really sucked. It was the ultimate betrayal. So what that shows is that she has, and there are a lot of women who can attest to this too. I'm not trying to belittle your experience here, but I'm just pointing out that men and women say this. In fact, there are some women, if you talk to nurses and doctors and so forth, there's no stats to back this up, by the way. This has been a kind of a disputed thing, but they will say it's not unheard of for woman to be in hospital, breast cancer, whatever it may be, and for her husband to go bye-bye. And we have guys like DH here who are saying, yeah, I can attest to that. I had a heart condition and my wife went and screwed somebody else. Those kind of life things, which is what a stressor. Any kind of stressor to a relationship. And sometimes it's, by the way, the birth of a child. Sometimes it's menopause. Sometimes it's I fell down, hurt my back at work, and now I can't work for the next 6 months, whatever it may be. That major stressor really shows what your relationship, or more specifically, what your partner's made of. And sometimes it ain't good. And sometimes it's, see you later, dude. This is too much for me. Or see you later, dude. I need to find a replacement real quick, which is DH, basically what your spouse did there. They were like, major stressor. I feel very insecure. What if this guy dies on me? What if he can't help protect me and pay for the kids anymore? Must find replacement. Sucks. But that's what happened. And you realize, oh, my partner, as far as the fidelity, as far as commitment is concerned, is a real piece of shit. This sucks. You know what, though, DH and others, what I have seen 10 out of 10 times is that's kind of the wake-up call. It's kind of the pulls the curtain back and you see the real them. But what you realize with some hindsight, when you look back at the relationship, you're like, yeah, this ain't the first time. I saw this back then. We had this one moment, and yeah, she didn't take that well either. And then she always said this to me. She always said that to me. The writing was always on the wall, and I always ignored it, or I always belittled it and said, not a big deal, not a big deal. And then cancer, heart disease, somebody dies, a child's born, some major stressor, and then kaboom, the bomb goes off, and they're like, I'm out of here. And you're like, what the hell? But then again, with hindsight, you look back and go, yeah, I should have saw this coming. Been there, done that, guys. Oh, Jack, I'm sorry to hear that. So your father's suffering from Alzheimer's and dying right now. Oof, that's tough. And you say your mom. It sounds like, Jack, via all your comments over the, can we say years now that you've been following me on these, that you have some not so nice ladies in your life, mom, siblings, and maybe past partners as well. I can't remember. And it sounds like your mom whines about his behavior, so she's not handling it well. Yeah, that's not good. And then you say, DH, you say absolutely right. Plenty of signs that you willfully ignored over the years. Welcome to the club, brother. A lot of us have been there. And you have to kind of take inventory of yourself and go, what is it about me that causes me to look past these very glaringly, obviously bad things? Why do I hang on to people that aren't right for me? Why? Because you can see where it gets you. In the end, you're all like, damn, this sucks. Here I am, and she left me. I saw it coming. I kept ignoring. Why do I keep ignoring? And the reason you look at that kind of stuff and take inventory of yourself is so that you can rebuild. How's that for a segue? You can rebuild into something better. Because if you don't do this work, let me bring up the banner. Where is it? Readrebuild.com. If you don't do this work, The foundational stuff of rebuilding from the ground up the right way, you know what happens, DH and others that don't go through that process? You end up doing it all over again. I'm telling you, man, I've seen it a million times. You're like, no, you don't understand. This girl's totally different. This one's way better. She's night and day different from my ex. And then years down the line, you go, fuck, I did it again. Sorry, language. Here we go. I didn't address this. I overlooked this thing. I overlooked that thing. It may not be the exact same thing as what your ex did, your new partner, but it's a different flavor of thing, whatever that thing may be. And it ends up biting in the ass because you're Mr. Pushover, Mr. Nice Guy. You look past things, whatever it may be. Oof, got to work on that stuff. And DH says you're halfway through the book already. Awesome. Thank you so very much. There it is. I got a glare there from the light. There, that's better. The complete guide to starting over as a man. Will it focus if I do this? Come on now. No, it won't. Nice. It's supposed to. Oh, well. Rebuild. Read rebuild.com. Rebuild is my latest book. Very proud of this. This one took a long time to put together. So check it out, guys. And yes, the audiobook is coming, but it's available now for members of the Brotherhood. Why haven't you joined the Brotherhood yet, mister? And yes, I'm talking to you, guy watching this. Helpformen.com/join. It's not, there is a cost to join, guys. It's a monthly fee, or you could pay annually if you want it cheaper, or you can do a lifetime, pay once and be done with it. In fact, we have oh man, I don't have a little banner for this. I can put it in the comments. Use code 50 for 30% off. Help for men.com/join. So if you go to join us on the Brotherhood and use code 50, which is in honor of my 50th birthday, it was good all this month. If you missed it, you'll get 30% off joining the Brotherhood. That goes for all those plans, the monthly or the annual or the lifetime deal. All get you the same type of benefits. We're not giving like more benefits for more money or anything like that. But again, to list the benefits of joining the group, all my books at no charge, no additional charge on top of your $27 a month fee or $270 a year or whatever it is for lifetime. I never remember. 30% off those, by the way. Those figures that I just gave you, take 30% off if you use code 50 at checkout. We have private forums. Us men talk about this kind of stuff all day, every day. Nobody else can see what you're saying. No women in the group. And then we have live Zoom meetings that I and others host every week. We have over 1,300 hours of meetings that have been recorded, and we have them available in a podcast format, if you will. You can listen to from your phone or from the website. You'll never run out of stuff to listen to. So all my books, the meetings, 1,000+ hours of audio for you to listen to, courses, coaching, we get together in person, all kinds of good stuff, guys. Check it out. The Brotherhood, helpformen.com/join. Y'all need to be in there. That's my one and only y'all for the day. All right. Anything else, gentlemen? We're coming up on the hour here. I typically don't like to go any more than an hour. Oh, I got a countdown here. 47 minutes. So anybody else have any questions for yours truly, please don't be shy. I'm here for you. Check out the book, Rebuild, rebuild.com. And then we have Mr. I'm not even going to say that out loud. I see you, person who has a long name. I have children. I know what that means. I'm not going to read that. Okay, well, Alan, I don't necessarily think the average man would want to pay for sex. He says, he's talking to Sandra. He says, I actually think that men date to get long-term affection. I would agree with that. Most of the men I talk to anyway. That's why men want to be with women. If it's just straight sex, he says, I think the average man would want to pay for sex. I don't think the average man pays for sex. There are men who do. Sex work is a thing that's been around for hundreds of years, thousands of years. It's the world's oldest profession for a reason, but most of the men I talk to do not go down that road. Leah says, hello. Well, hello, Miss Leah. How are you? Do we know each other, Miss Leah? Every now and then I get a, hey, Ralph. I'm like, do I know you? Benjamin says, this makes lots of sense. Well, thank you, Benjamin. I don't know what this is, but maybe all of what I've been blabbing about for the last 49 minutes. But thank you, Mr. Benjamin. Thank you for joining us today. Check out the Brotherhood, private group for men only. Would love to have you. Anything else, ladies and germs? I'm all yours. Let's hear it. I always feel like a bit of a schmuck when I get on here. Like, please ask me questions. Ask the master. It's like, no, I'm just to hang out, guys. Let's talk about whatever. I don't know what you're saying here, mister. I'm going to go to ban user and delete comments because somebody was getting a little weird there. We got a lot of weirdos on the internet. The more popular I get, the more I realize there's some disturbed individuals out there. And, if that rocks your boat, dude, but I don't want you in my house with all that. Somebody was talking about, I'm not even going to say it out loud. Has no bearing on anything we're talking about here. But thank you, all you normal people, for joining me today. Maybe normal is too strong of a word. I don't even know if I fall under that category. Thank you, all you non-toxic individuals, for joining me today. I do appreciate it. I appreciate all of you for your support and liking these. And if you haven't given me a like yet, please do so. That always helps. That tells the Facebooks and YouTubes of the world. I'm also live streaming this on X, or Twitter as it used to be called. So hello, Xians, Twitterans. Alan is asking me, what do I think about the Gottmans' take on relationships? They have a lot of good stuff. The Gottmans been around for years and years. For those that don't know, older couple who puts out a lot of material all about relationships. They're most popular, at least in my world. I hear them often referred to because of they came out with the 4 horsemen of relationship apocalypse, meaning what they see as the 4 big things that cause the downturn of relationships. I don't know those off the top of my head. I shouldn't even mention it because I can't. Maybe somebody else can list them, but that's what I see them for. I don't have any issues with them. I think it's fine. What's bad about some of this material out there? It's not that the material is bad on its own. It's that people take it and it becomes almost like a religion to them. And like somebody will come to them and say, this was my experience and this is what's going on with me. And people will go, nuh-uh, because the Gottman said this. And you're like, okay, I don't give a shit what the Gottman say. This is my experience. Or no, my love language is this. It's like, what love language? And then you read up on love languages and you realize like, oh, somebody happened to write a book. And the book said, I've noticed that people tend to do things a certain way in relationships and how they like to receive love and give love. And I call those the love languages. It's not gospel. It's not like the be all and end all. And then people like me often talk about attachment theory and how some people are more anxious and some people are secure, and not many of us, it seems. And some people are very avoidant. And that's not the be all and end all of relationship talk either. It's just an observance and a way of applying labels to things that we see as patterns in behavior. That's all it is. It's kind of a way for us dumb humans to understand a lot of this stuff. So we put labels on it and call it attachment, call it love languages, and call it whatever. So it's not the be all and end all. If I could rewrite the laws to be better for relationships, what would you change? Oh, like the legal laws? I don't know. Everything at face value makes sense, which is the origin of a lot of these laws. It's a reaction to things. Let's try to right wrongs. It's just that I think interpretations of laws and so forth can go too far. And I'm biased in this because I'm a dude and I talk to a lot of dudes going through stuff. But it's a lot of financial stuff that I hear over and over again from men. It's like, why? Here's something I hear from a lot of guys. Why is it that I was cheated on? I provided for my wife for so many years. Yes, she was a stay-at-home mother for the last, let's make up a number, 15 years or whatever. But I gave her everything she wanted. I put all the kids through. I worked my ass off. I worked 80 hours a week or something ridiculous like that. The guy's like, worked. As far as he's concerned, this is his point of view. Working. Wife stays home with the kids. She's got the Mercedes. She's got the this and that and that. And then she runs off with the pool boy. That's always that's the stereotypical, you presumably lower income, lower status, quote unquote, for lack of a better word, dude. And she ends up screwing him and throwing away her family for this. And then what does the guy have to do? Pays out the nose and maybe alimony. That's a relatively rare thing. But definitely child support, and definitely in terms of here's half the house, here equity in the house, here's half my 401k, here's half the savings, I'll take half the debts, and if not more. And the guy's like, this is just not fair. This sucks. And I have to agree with him. That kind of sucks. But you have to understand, when you enter into a very legally binding agreement like marriage, and when you put parameters in place such as you stay home with kids, I go work, this is what you're setting yourself up for. The potentiality for that to happen. The potentiality, the right use of the word, it sounded good. But there are things such as prenuptial agreements. There are even a post-nup, which is now that we're already married, I want to go back and say, in case we divorce, I want this, and that happen. So there are ways to protect yourself. There are some legal ways to do so. Let me read Mr. Benjamin's here. Benjamin says, I'm going through a lot right now with a woman. I felt like I was always chasing for the relationship and always saying sorry. I felt like she never would take accountability for anything, and everything was about me. I finally got tired of it and I walked away. And it's hard when someone you really love, but I need my peace and the kids to come first. Am I wrong for walking away when it's just a back and forth relationship? Well, Benjamin, my friend, very well put. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it, buddy. You need to work on your sense of self-worth. You took a big step there, which is huge, which is walking away from a dysfunctional relationship. What you're describing is you are to use the attachment theory terms, the labels here. You're describing you are the anxious partner, the preoccupied partner. You're always chasing. You use the word chasing. You're always wanting her to do things right and to make some effort towards you as a couple. And she was always like, no, dude, no, just leave me alone. I'm filling in the blanks here because guess what? I don't know if you know this, Benjamin, but you represent basically my brotherhood group. You represent the majority of my audience. You're the anxious dude married to the avoidant woman, or you were. And you finally said, enough's enough of this horseshit. I think I need to move on from this. This is mentally debilitating to me. Emotionally, I feel like less of a man. This is a horribly dysfunctional relationship. Even though I have kids and all this stuff, I can't go on like this. Good for you, dude. So that was a big first step, but you still have the pangs, if you will, of your codependence, your anxious nature, which is like, I feel guilty for what I just did, which is understandable. You broke up a family. You were the one who, I guess you could say she was the one to chisel away at the relationship and cause all the cracks in the foundation, but you threw the dynamite at it and said, let's blow this shit up. And I and others listening to your story, we don't know the full story. We don't know her side of the story. We're taking yours at face value. But if what you say is the typical anxious person with the avoidant person, there's really not much you can do. It takes them saying, yeah, you're right. I got problems. I have problems with vulnerability and open up to my partner. I do these things to keep people at distance. I need to work on me. I need to work on us. But with your typical avoidant man or woman, that's very, very rare. That's what a lot of anxious people learn. And what it takes often is you to walk away. And that's going to come with a lot of feelings. And it's okay to feel those feelings, dude. It's okay. What you need to learn is the act of soothing yourself, learning how to cope, learning how to adjust, and learning how to, the words escaping me right now. You can learn more about all this in my book, Rebuild, The Complete Guide to Starting Over as a Man. You need to rebuild, my friend. You need to start from the foundation and work your way up. Because if you don't work on this sense of trying to always fix, taking on, feeling guilty for having feelings, feeling guilty, feeling shame for feeling love towards a person, not getting it reciprocated and feeling more shame. If you don't fix those issues, you're going to keep doing this to yourself again and again. And what you learn is that it's not just romantic relationships. This permeates all relationships in your life, whether it's professional, friends, whatever. If you don't fix that, you're going to keep doing this shit over and over and over again. So therapy is a huge thing, as well as books like mine, Rebuild, The Complete Guide to Starting Over as a Man. Check out readrebuild.com. Let me put that little banner up here. I wrote this book for a reason, guys. I went through this whole process myself. That's what this is. And this comes from years and years of talking to men, writing 4 other books, having meetings with men, one-on-one coaching sessions with men, talking to guys every day in my social media accounts and people direct messaging me. This is taking little nuggets of wisdom from all of these things and putting it in a book. Yeah, you, friend. Benjamin, you say, I'm not perfect, but thank you for your advice. I have work to do myself. Very good, Mr. Benjamin. If you want to reach out, check out helpformen.com, join the group, helpformen.com/join. Use 50 when you check out, and you'll get a big fat discount, 50 FIFTY, in honor of my birthday, which was last week. Join us. Let me bring up that banner here for those that missed it, helpformen.com/join. And join a bunch of other dudes on the same journey, my friend. Mr. Allen says, Allen from Facebook, why does it seem to me like the woman is the one that can make, let me get rid of this call, that can make or break the relationship more than the man? I mean, at face value, that's not true. I don't know if you realize that, Alan. Maybe this is a testimony to your kind of codependence on your relationship, or you're maybe the more anxious partner, you do realize you have, and I'm not condoning this or I'm not pushing for this, it's just a stated fact. It takes only one person to divorce in a relationship or to break up. And that can be you. You can be in a toxic relationship to an individual that makes you feel like shit day in and day out for years. And you have all the power in the world to say, I think I'm out of here. Here's the divorce papers. And you're like, why is it that it seems like it's the woman that can is the term used here, make or break? It's not. Maybe it's the fact that you see it that way, which is kind of a sad thing, an interesting thing, something to explore further. Now, is it the one that usually does? It's yeah, there's some stats to back that up. 70% of the divorces are initiated by women. Maybe that takes some thought into digging into why that is or why that happens. And it's more deep than just women have no sense of devotion, vows, and so. No, I think it's deeper than that. It's something to explore and to look at. And let's ask the ladies and hear from them. Guys, I do need to skedaddle, but I thank you also very much for joining me today. Thank you, guys and gals. Check out the Brotherhood Men, helpformen.com/join. I want to see a couple of you guys join me at least today from this group. You know who you are. You do need to join us, Mr. Benjamin. We would love to have you in there, brother. You can learn more at helpformen.com. Reach out to me directly if you want to. Ralph.b@helpformen.com is my email. Ralph.b@helpformen.com. And guys, once again, I've been pushing this like hell. I'm proud of this. Check it out. Rebuild, the complete guide to starting over as a man. You can find it on Amazon. Readrebuild.com is the website. It's available for free to members of my Brotherhood group, as well as the audiobook is available for free to members of the Brotherhood group right now as we speak. The rest of you got to wait for the retailers to put it on their websites. It's out of my hands. I've submitted it to Audible and all the other guys, so we'll see how long it takes them to put it up on the website. Usually it takes weeks, unfortunately. But if you want to listen to the audiobook now, check it out. Mr. Michael says, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Michael, for joining me today. I appreciate it. And all of you, thank you so very much. I appreciate all of you. Hope you had a wonderful Turkey Day to my fellow Americans out there, and hope you have a wonderful weekend. And next week, I'll be back with Mr. Michael Reed, I believe, is joining me live. He has his own website or content out there whose name is escaping me right now. Sorry, I got too much shit in my mind right now. Authentic Man, I think it's called. I don't know. Check it out. It's on the schedule on Facebook, on YouTube as well. You can go to the live and see my schedule for the events there, what's coming up. But I'll be back here this time again next week. All right, ladies and germs, thank you all so very much. Michelle, you say your boyfriend needs that book. Give it to him. That's what a lot of women are weird about. I can't give him, it'll hurt his feelings. Give him the book. That's how men operate. If you throw it at his head, no, don't do that. But read this. That's what you do. Read rebuild.com. or check it out on Amazon. All right, guys, once again, thank you all so very much. I appreciate all of you. Hope you have a wonderful one. Toodaloo.